What's cracking, party people? It's your girl Nicole Banister, aka NIKKI BANZ, coming to you live from Rabat, Morocco. Today I'm interviewing Maponyane right here on NIKKI BANZ Live! Woo-hoo! What up, what up, what up, everybody? What's cracking? What an absolute pleasure to have you all here today. This is an absolute vibe. I am so stoked to see all of you beautiful, sunny, sunshiny, fabulous, gorgeous humans here today. Thank you so much for tuning in every single Tuesday with me. I'm telling you, I would not be here without you all. So thank you one, thank you all. I see everybody tuning in. We got Mama and Papa Bands in the building. We got the Shabbies in the building. We got Christine in the building. What's Gucci, everybody? It is a pleasure to see you. I see we got my girl Cindy in the building. Hello, 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 Cindile. It's a pleasure, y'all. It's a pleasure. As I said in the beginning, I am in Morocco, y'all. I am out here in the Sahara Desert, in Rabat, in Casablanca, in Marrakesh. You already know the vibes. You know your girl NIKKI BANZ is traveling everywhere, but it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter when. I am always coming to you every single Tuesday, bringing you incredible, exclusive, one-on-one conversations with some of the most interesting people across the globe. Actors, entertainers, artists, activists, entrepreneurs. And every single week, I'm bringing you a brand new guest from a brand new country. And it is my pleasure to be doing this here with you all. So welcome one, welcome all. You all are stars. You know I love my sound effects. So I'm gonna give y'all the DJ horn. So like I said, I'm in Morocco right now. I got a little henna going on. So if you're seeing a little some on my hand, that's what I got going on here today, party people. Some beautiful henna. I was in Dakhla, which is literally in the Sahara Desert. I had never been to the Sahara Desert before. I've been to Morocco. This is my third time in Morocco, but I'd never been to the Sahara Desert, and I went out to the desert and got some beautiful henna done. Was out at this incredible kite surfing school. Shout out to Oasis 212, to our beautiful hosts there. And so y'all all gotta go check it out. You know your girl NIKKI BANZ is gonna do like a whole highlighted story on Morocco, give you all the juice, all the sauce, so all of you can go check it out just like I did. It's been an absolute joy being here, and I'll be here for another couple of weeks. So make sure you're following me on Instagram at They Call Me Bands. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Nicole Banister, aka NIKKI BANZ, so you can keep up with all of the dope travels. So y'all, you already know the vibes. Today, I'm bringing you one of South Africa's finest, and I'm so excited because we've been planning this for a minute. I think it's been about a year in the making. We got the one and only Maps Maponyane in the building here today. Maps, I see you here. I'm about to bring you on in just a moment, my guy. But I'm telling you, this is a man literally and figuratively of many, many hats. I mean, what does the man not do? All right, actor, TV presenter, MC, voiceover artist, entrepreneur, investor, restaurant owner, creative consultant, on and on and on and on. The list goes on and on and on. And I cannot wait to dive a bit deeper with this man and to give y'all some real conversation about what makes Maps tick. That's what we're gonna get into today. And I know y'all are ready for it. So before I bring him on, quick shout out. Y'all know I've been doing this almost every single Tuesday for the last 5-6 weeks now. As you all know, your girl NIKKI BANZ is half black, half Iranian. And if you don't know, you're about to learn right now that there is a huge revolution happening in Iran right now. There's a massive civil rights movement, a women's rights movement happening so that women can have the freedom of speech, women can have the freedom of choice to wear a hijab, wear a veil or not. So please, 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 we need the international community to stand up, to show support, to continue to have eyes on Iran. Because at the end of the day, it's all of us around the world, the diaspora, people across the globe supporting one another for women's rights and for freedom, for democracy. So please, just one thing, just share one thing on your Instagram about what's happening in Iran right now, and you will have made the world a better place to have raised some awareness. So thank you. I've been saying it every Tuesday. I'm gonna keep saying it until hopefully we see some change in Iran. Inshallah, inshallah, coming soon. All right, y'all, you didn't come here just to hear your girl NIKKI BANZ talk. You came here to see a dope interview with the one and only Maps Maponyane. So I know he's in the building. I'm about to bring him on right now. Let me get my little drum roll going. Maps, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get this party started. Hey. Here we go, here we go, here we go. I'm about to bring the boy on right now. I know y'all are excited. I know you're excited. Let's go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. It's about that time, y'all. It's about that time. I just invited him. Let's see. Let's make sure he is getting that invite. Maps Maponyane, one of South Africa's finest. Mzansi in the building. I'm so excited.
There you are. Wait, let me try to lift this up a little bit. Looks like I'm a little bit. It's cutting me off at the bottom. Hello. You know what? Actually, if you don't mind, I'm actually just gonna hold you for a bit.
Hold it, Maps. Do whatever you want to do. It's your interview, my guy.
NIKKI BANZ, what's up? You have the most palpable energy known to man, and it's such a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here, Maps. I'm so honored. We've been trying to do this for a hot minute, and finally, it's happening. Maps Maponyane by NIKKI BANZ on a Tuesday. I'm so excited.
On a Tuesday, I love that. You've done this for like the last five or 6 weeks or so. So I'm loving what you're doing, loving the conversations you're having, and it's all been pretty dope, and it's important conversations too. And I love how you manage to balance the substance with a little bit of the light as well. You know, it's all very important, but also hashtag Maponyane. It's still something we all need to pay a lot of great attention to. And I respect and understand the country you represent as well. So it's yeah, we're all in your corner. In saying that, I have to ask you, Hubi?
Huba merci, Hubi.
Huba merci. Nice to see you, you know.
Okay, Maps, you better come through with the Farsi. You better come through.
I got you.
And here I was about to be like, Masejo, Ojuang Chomi.
Hey, look at you.
Hey.
I'm impressed. You already learned, you know how many, I'm South Americans don't even bother learning a lot of the local languages, so I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And you know the way you say my name and surname also, on point.
On point? Okay, good.
On point. That. Yeah. On point.
We already have our little cross-cultural exchange. We're in the first 2 minutes of the interview. We already busted out the Farsi, the Tswana, the English. We international, baby.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's up? How's Morocco going? How's everything going?
Yo, Morocco is such a vibe. Like I said, it's my 3rd time here, but I'm here on a big family vacation. So my mom, my dad, my brother, our like closest family friends, we're all here. And it's been so incredible, truly, to just explore the culture and the food. It's funny because I think I'm eating more here than I eat back in Cape Town, but I think I'm losing weight because the food is so much healthier. Look, I mean, I've always wanted to go, but I always hear that the food around there, like, you just don't stop, but it is obviously incredibly fresh. But I've been seeing the holiday vibes with the family. Your mom, like, is looking like she's having the time of her life. She's fresh and youthful and always dancing. I see where you get the energy from. And your dad is just cool. He just oozes so much cool. Damn. You know, I got the perfect blend of my mom and dad, truly. Like, from my mom, it's the energy, it's the dancing, it's the love, it's the light. And from my dad, I got my hustle and my business savvy and prowess. So I feel like it's a good balance. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Look, I also see, in terms of balance, your brother seems to be the complete opposite to you. You know, obviously a dope human being, but in terms of energy, he seems like he's just like hella chilled out, you know, just kind of like, you know, seems very relaxed and smooth, but maybe a little bit shy as well. So yeah,
you know what? My brother Julian is literally so zen. Literally, he did like he had a vow of silence today for like 6 hours earlier today. He was meditating, you know, connecting to the universe. So you're right. He is so much more zen than I am. Like, I try to stay quiet for like 5 minutes and I can't.
Look, you're just trying to get the most out of everything you can. Listen, I actually realized when we were about to do the show that, and I'm seeing it in the comments already right now, where a lot of people who, you know, have had my back for a while are like, I don't know what to do. You're on this show, but your show is on air right now at the same time. I'm watching you on both of them, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that, but I didn't want to change the timing because, you know, we already announced it and everything. So
Yo,
yeah, we might have a little bit of those people being like, come on, man.
I know, I know. Well, for anyone who wants to go watch that, this is going to be recorded. I'm going to upload this onto Instagram and YouTube so people can go watch Mzansi Icons and then come back here and watch the rerun. We can definitely do that. So don't stress for everyone, all the big
Okay,
Maponyane fans out there. It's all good. You can do
dope,
both.
dope, and tonight's a big one. Tonight's a big one. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm really glad to be here too. And I love how you've got such a diverse audience across the globe. It's very it's pretty dope to see. You know, you're putting the times up, and I'm like, damn, my girl's international. You just like put every single piece of Greenwich Meridian time up there, wherever you might be from around the world.
Literally, it's because we are international here. And that's one of the beautiful things about this IGTV show. You know, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't have my own TV show. So what can I do to basically have my own show and curate the guests that I want to curate? I was like, I'm just going to go live on Instagram with all of my homies from all different countries around the world. South Africa this week, Nigeria next week, Uzbekistan the next week. And it's just been so dynamic to see people who are creative come together, no matter the country, no matter the place, and really just support one another and encourage one another, which is what I love about NIKKI BANZ Live. So truly, Maps, it's a pleasure to have you as my guest here on the show. And you know, it's always better when I'm interviewing somebody who is an MC and who is like a presenter. It always flows so smoothly. I'm like, Maps, you've been asking me questions. It's my interview to you. You've been asking me questions the whole
Sorry,
time.
sorry. It's like a natural kind of like thing to do, you know. It's my natural kind of disposition to just want to ask immediately, want to know how you're going, how things are with you, and immediately go into your mind and start digging in. So my bad.
No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Honestly, that's one of the things I love most about you. You are so phenomenal in the way that you're able to pull from people all sorts of things that they haven't talked about before. The emotions, the diving deeper than just what your typical press and your typical folks are going to ask on an interview. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of social media, right? Because it's not curated by traditional media in the same way, but you're able to take that and actually put it into a traditional media space, into a hosting space. And so I really, you know, this is one of the things that I wanted to ask you, right? There's like 1,000 different titles that we can say for you, right? And I already listed them off at the beginning of the interview, right? You are actor, TV presenter, MC, voiceover artist, creative consultant, yada, 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 entrepreneur, investor, all these things, right? But those are all things that you do, right? Those are all things that you do. That's not who you are. So Maps Maponyane, who are you? What is that driving force that connects all the dots between all of these different things that you do?
Okay. Geez, there's so much in there, but I have to kind of just like point out two things if I think across the board with everything. Everything that links up me and what I do is probably two key things. And I think even from having a conversation to venturing into new things, exploring different interests, whatever it might be, I'm both hugely curious. I'd say curiosity is one of my main attributes. And then the second is that I'm an intense observer and listener. So those two things allow me to be able to create and navigate a space for myself in kind of whatever it is I might be interested in, because that curiosity already makes me interested in wanting to, you know, go out into whatever it might be. And then it's the intense observation and listening. And that listening really also means consuming, researching, learning, humbling yourself, and really wanting to just be a sponge that then equips you with enough knowledge to be able to enter that space and take a leap and chance on yourself to be able to, you know, see if you can do it, whatever it might be. And I think I've been fortunate that with all these different things I've been able to, I guess, charter into, I've been quite fortunate that it's worked out. It's worked out more often than not. So I'm just, I think it's my curiosity that I probably attribute the most to that. And I enjoy that about myself. I like that I can't be kind of just stuck to categorizing or, I guess, sorting myself into one block or one category, and that I feel that I have so many different types of interests and so much potential that I'm always seeking out how to get as much of it out of myself as possible. I think even on my, on my bio in Twitter, like bios always make me feel so awkward to put them together. And I remember it used to be quite convoluted, and I simplified it to trying to get as much life out of one life as possible. And I think that's what I always want to do.
Trying to get as much out of one life as possible. That's beautiful. And I think that does sum up your curiosity quite brilliantly, because it's true. We can see it, that you have such a passion and interest in so many different things. But then I think what makes you different, what makes you unique, because I think I can sit here and say that a lot of people are curious about a lot of things, but you then take the extra step to actually go and turn those things into businesses, into real ideas, into actually like implementing those things. So for all the people out there who are watching this being like, yo, I'm the same way, Maps. I also am so curious about so many things I want to explore, but I don't know how to leverage all of my different passions and interests into a career or into a brand or into an identity. How do you take that step? Like once you've decided you're curious about something, how do you take that next step and then transition it into a business, a brand, a dream?
I think first it's about actually taking the step to back yourself. For me, I can stupidly blind myself into kind of really thinking that I've got really nothing. I don't go into something with a great deal of fear, because that's what holds people back, right? And I think I try and harness that fear into the fact that it's something that's worth doing. So for me, if that isn't there, then it probably isn't. And so if there is the fear, then I'm interested enough in it. I care enough about what I'm about to do, and it's not something that is mundane or regular or is not requiring much of myself. So I think the first is actually believing and backing yourself, and taking that first step is literally that. The next step then is wanting to ensure that you feel like you know enough about it. You are prepared to do the work. You're prepared to be at the bottom of that chain while you're trying to learn. You're prepared to ask as much and as many questions as possible. And you're prepared to look wherever you can to draw in the information that you need to be able to, to enter that space. And once you kind of can put those things together and then just take the chance, then that ends up being the difference. And I know it kind of may seem a little bit vague, but it's all those thoughts are all the things that tend to keep people behind, right? So, I always speak about something called, well, it's not called that. I called it that. There's a track theory that I kind of came up with years ago where, if you imagine that you are in like a track and field and you're about to do a track race, you're in athletics and you're doing a 400-meter race, you are in this block where your lane represents you and all the other lanes represent other people and the kind of fears and excuses that they make to keep them from leaving their blocks when the race starts. And for me, I'd say to people just to leave, just to start running, just take that first step, and then things start to line up. Because if you say lane one is the fear of the fact that you are not perhaps experienced enough. Lane 3 is the fear that you haven't made the right connections. Lane 4 is the fear that you don't have enough money to be where you want to be with it. Lane 5 is you haven't had the time, or whatever it might be. If you just kind of get started, you can learn a lot of that along the way, from the fact that when you're running this track and it's a 400-meter hurdle race, you're going to come across these hurdles and have to knock these hurdles and go back to your starting blocks. And people will still not have left because they have these excuses. But then you'll keep leaving your block, you'll keep leaving your lane. And by the time you get to each hurdle each time, even though you have to keep getting knocked back and start again, you would have seen each hurdle and you would have learned along the way while people are still buying time. And so by the time they start to leave and you're leaving for the third, fourth time because you've been knocked down a few times, you know the whole track. And that's how you become a pioneer. That's how you immediately venture into waters you haven't ventured out into before. That's how you get yourself going. That's how you learn. You just immediately just dive in and learn along the way.
Okay, Maps, I'm here for the track theory. I'm here for this, okay? I hope everybody on here is taking notes about the track theory, and because I think this is the type of thing that people need to hear. You know, it's like, you can hear this so many times, and people need to keep hearing it, because at the end of the day, it really is about just trying, taking that first step, starting to race, right? Start to run the race, and you're going to learn along the way. And so many people are completely paralyzed at the start, right? Not even moving from their block.
Absolutely, but that's also how you end up building that ecosystem, because once you kind of nail that one thing, if you're wanting to explore to different things, you would have now built up the experience, built up the time, maybe being able to save a bit of money to, you know, give capital for the next thing, made the networks, all of that. And now you can draw from all of that to start building on and doing that within your strengths, and also being, you know, reasonable within those strengths to ensure that you can grow it with people who are also quite well versed in whatever field that might be, to help grow it with you. So it's also about, you know, collaborating in that sense to help strengthen, you know, both your dreams and others together.
100%. And like so many people, like one of the quotes I've heard recently a lot is like, your network is your net worth. Like, it's actually not about how much money you have in the bank. It's about who you know, the people who are cheerleading you every single step of the way, the people who are supporting you unconditionally, believing in your dreams, and keeping that circle tight so that you all can launch and amplify one another. How do you curate this type of network around you? Because obviously there's no way you're as successful as you are today without having a phenomenal support structure around you, whether that's friends or family or business partners or you know, whoever. How do you curate that network, Maps?
I think there's different ways of doing it. And I think for me, the kind of like two main ways has firstly been, you know, it kind of relates back to that whole thing of backing myself, because firstly, you need to ensure that, you know what you're doing once you are doing it, and that you've been able to prove that you are worth that, that support from your network, right? So you also need to be, again, a lot of people enter whatever it is that they want to enter in, but they're not prepared to do the work. They're not prepared to, you know, enter those shark-infested waters and be spat out and just keep going over and over again. You know, I'm always getting DMs and texts about, listen, I want to do, I just think of anything. I want to also be a TV presenter, and I want to be on the show. Can you get me in touch with someone who can get me on the show? You've missed so many steps before you can get there, right? You're entering the industry. There's a long way to go. People always, unfortunately, you know, see the results and think that that's just like, it's just a linear thing. But it is just like, it's lots of, exactly. It's a whole, it's never works out like that. And a lot of it also can be attributed to timing, to yourself, putting yourself out there, to taking the opportunity as soon as it comes, but also always being prepared. Otherwise, you know, the opportunities are useless without you not being prepared. But going back to what it is, for me, I'd say, together with those things I've said, in order to elaborate on like being worth it, I always used to grapple with something when I was a kid where, you know, I'd always hear adults saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And, you know, I grew up in a family and was raised by a mother and father that were very kind of adamant on meritocracy, you know.
Okay.
My old man played football back in the day, and that's all he did was just work hard and train to try to be the best he could possibly be. My mom was a fully fledged academic, and that's like all she did was just work, study, and just was always on her grind, always on her hustle. She's got about 4 master's degrees now. My mom's just it's just meritocracy. You need to show that you are worth whatever it is you're being put into.
Yeah.
And so with that kind of like subtly being instilled in me, there was this contradiction with them still though, where I came to them, I think I was about 8 years old, and I said to them, I keep hearing people say, It's not what you know, it's who you know. But that's not fair. What if you know so much more than the other person, but they know the right person, so they don't end up getting the chance, whatever it might
Right.
be. And
Right.
and and they kind of were like, yes, in theory that's how it should be, but unfortunately that's not how the world works. But you're being naive, and you'll understand this one day.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
didn't really want to understand it just because I end up understanding it and that's how it works, it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that that's the kind of space I want to exist in for myself as well, right? So I also couldn't have that feeling without having a rebuttal for it. And so I ended up coming up with a rebuttal in kind of like school that would make me feel better about that and want to live in a way that was that of my rebuttal. And the rebuttal essentially is, if you are committed to what you are, wanting to do, if you're willing to do the work, if you're passionate about it and you love what you do, and you're willing, as I say, you're willing to work hard at it, and you actually are good at it, then you start to become that the who you know wants to know because you're so damn good at what you do. Because you can't be
That's
ignored then, right? And
that
that's what it's
part.
about. So that then leads to things like patience. And from your constant chipping away, and you're going to get lots of doors closed in your face, and you're going to get people putting their noses up at you, not wanting to listen to you, not wanting to respond to you, and a lot of the time actually not being able to respond to you because they get like just bombarded with so many requests, so many emails, so many things. Like that person also needs to be able to focus on what it is that they're doing. Otherwise, you end up needing to start an organization literally focused on people's dreams and
Right.
turning them back to where they need to be. I wish I could respond to every single person, but
Sure.
I can only respond to the ones that I end up coming across and can actually assist as well. And so that's always my thing. Once you've got that part sorted and people can't ignore you, then they'll always back you. They'll always invest in you. They'll always want to go along this journey with you and take that gamble on you. And I think I've been fortunate along the way where even if people haven't, I've always taken that gamble on myself. I've always put myself out there, even if I've been ridiculously nervous or really just not sure if I could possibly do it. I've done the best that I can to be prepared for that moment, and then it's worked out, and then people have realized, and then it's been it's been something then that has shown that it was a worthwhile chance and have been a worthwhile gamble, So
Right.
I
Right.
think it's important to have that firm footing within yourself first. And then once you have that, don't take people for granted. Don't take opportunities for granted, and ensure that you put your best foot forward every single time. So I have the constant attitude in my mind that I'm just scraping the barrel. I'm not even close to where I want to be, and I'm far from ever being able to even remotely think that I have made it in any kind of way. And so I will then continue to want to treat people with respect, want to ensure that I deliver when clients ask me to, want to ensure that I create an environment where everyone feels like they are seen as a fellow human being, and I want to ensure that they want to work with me again and that they feel like they're valued, whatever it might be. But I just want to always have those things surround me. And I think with that plus reliability, you create a wonderful system of evangelists for the work that you do, and kind of who want to evangelize on your behalf, the behalf of
Right.
your reputation because of their experiences with working with you. And it's something that's always been subconscious until I really wanted to extract it from myself. And I was looking back about a year ago and I thought, I've always kind of just gone about these things. And I realized it from people around me who may be my peers in the industry who maybe just couldn't care about those things, and have then asked, but then how did you manage to do this? And you managed to do this. It was because
Right.
I wasn't stepping all over the toes, or treating people like crap, and then asking them later to please, have me involved in something that I might want to be. And I think it's an important thing that people lack a lot of foresight for, when they get ahead of themselves and then block their own way. And I think I've always wanted to ensure that path is clear while sticking to my own guns and my own moral standings and being consistent with that.
Woo, Maps. Okay, you better come through with the bars, with the gems. I think we're ready for your TED Talk. Like, we're ready for this.
I'm going to shorten my answer. Sorry.
No, this is what I love, because this is really getting into it, right? Like, people can see the glitz and the glam and the Moet Chandon and all the people can see that stuff, right? But
Shout out.
Shout out. But like, to actually get to that point, to be able to think very critically about what you're doing each step of the way, to create an enabling environment for yourself at all times, to not only be the most prepared, to not only work the hardest, to not only treat everyone around you respectfully, and then to strategically position yourself so that when those opportunities do come, you are the most prepared and you are the most respectful in the space, right? I think that's incredible for you to be able to step into those spaces, like, even like you said, taking a gamble on yourself, knowing that, it's nervous, knowing that it might be something that you haven't done before, right? But still being able to move forward and say, you know what, I am prepared. I have worked hard for this. I'm going to treat everyone with dignity because that's what we deserve as human beings, and then step forward and then just deliver. And I think that that's one of the things that, every time I've seen you, and I've seen you in Cape Town, I've seen you in Joburg, bumped into you in different places. Every time I've seen you, that kind of humility that you come forward with is impressive, right? Because of who you are and what you do and how you move through the world, right? You're not one of those people that's like, sorry, no pictures, please, right? It's not, you're like that, right? You're like, okay, let's talk. Who are you? What's your story? What's going on? And I think that's beautiful. And I think this is one of the things that continues to help your career grow and grow and grow, which actually sort of leads me into what I want to talk about next. But let me just quick pause and say I turned the comments off, only because people were saying, oh, we can't see Maps' face. There's too many comments. So that's why I turned the comments off. That's why I turned them off. But I'm going to turn them back on. Let's see how it goes. If people say, no, we can't see him, I'll remove them. But I had turned them off because of that. So let's see. I'm literally saying, please remove comments in all caps. But let's see how we go. Let's see. I'll turn it back on for a little bit. And let me just plug really quickly. If you're not following Maps on Instagram yet, you better go ahead and do that right now. Go to the top of your screen, hit that little arrow in the middle of the screen, follow at Maponyane. You can follow me on Instagram at NIKKI BANZ for more conscious conversations at all times. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. But okay, so literally this show is simultaneously coinciding with your air of Mzansi Icons, which I was doing the research earlier, and I was like, does he also have an 8 p.m. Tuesday show?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Okay. I was like, okay, well, first off, great minds think alike. Okay. But I think it's incredible, Mzansi Icons, because you're literally giving people their flowers in real life as they are still here. You are interviewing some of the most incredible minds and creatives and people across South Africa. Talk to us about why hosting this show in particular is so important to you.
So firstly, I can see why you remove the comments, because I'm looking at some of the comments and you literally got a little bit of aggression here. Capital bold letters, please remove the comments with like exclamation marks. so I get that. And then also there was a comment here that I did see earlier where someone was like, I know you are reading this comment. I just want to say I love you. I love you too, whoever that was. Thank you very much. I just can't find it again now. But so Mzansi Icons is something that I thought that was quite important to be a part of. So just before we get into that, right? So I kind of like started my journey in entertainment through television, and modeling and that kind of stuff. And I have done it for many years, and I've been in the industry now for 15 years. And the last few years, I haven't done anything on television purposefully because it just didn't feel like the right thing had been around in terms of like where I wanted to go, where I saw myself, how I wanted to position the things that I was going to do, what I wanted to be a part of, and what I thought would be more enhancing of kind of like society and people and our stories in general, and had a little bit of substance to it too. So when this came about, it seemed pretty cool because it's a show that gives me the opportunity, and as a result, through me as a vehicle, gives us the opportunity to be able to honor and give great, iconic individuals across different industries. Another important point, because it wasn't like, for me, it's really not about focusing on only the people that are well known. Because if you are well known and famous and stuff, then, you know, you probably have gotten your flowers a couple times anyway. It's also finding a lot of those voices that people know of, but you know, might not know who's really behind that, and you know, who those people really are and what they've gone through and what their life journeys are. Because what we're seeing a lot of the time is lots of incredible people, you know, they make a massive impact and indelible mark in a industry, and then they, you know, pass away, and then it's like, oh, did you know that this person was behind this, and this changed this for us, and they were the genius behind this idea. And you know, when I grew up, I used to love this person's music, but they just never really got that, you know, amount of love that I thought they deserved, or whatever it might be. As well, also then the people who are also really well known who are also part of it. So I think it was a cool opportunity to be able to bring those stories to the fore, but also have the conversations that those people might not have ever had.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky to have met different people, and unfortunately with me, right, I ask the hard questions in person, in real life, right?
Okay.
Not just like, not, so it's not necessarily saying that on the show, that's something that's going to be a given, but in real life, I make a lot of people like in the industry feel, I don't know, I think feel a little bit different because I'm not really interested in what would normally be the conversation. You know, a lot of the time the conversation is other people, and it leans towards maybe the gossip, or it leans towards focusing on just the glitz and the glam or whatever it is.
Sure.
I can immediately, like, I'm very much, this may be not the right word to use, but I can come across quite nosy, or to find out more about you, because I'm just so curious about people and their experiences. So I'll meet someone when everyone's just like spoken about the cool stuff that maybe they've just done, or perhaps what they're wearing, and who they were just with now. I really want to just kind of be like, so are you really happy?
Right.
What's
right.
Yeah. Are you really happy in this? Is like, do you really get excited when you come to these things? Are you, you know, what is it for you that makes you want to leave your house? And then when you interact with everyone here, what's your aim from this? Like, and what are you hoping to take from those conversations? And then a lot of people can then freeze at that and not know what to say, because it's a very like strange line of questioning for them from what they'd normally be asked on. Or they then start to really consider that question and ask themselves a lot of questions about what I've just asked. And then it opens a beautiful conversation where, from you investigating that truthfully within yourself, can reveal a lot about perhaps what really makes you happy, where you really want to go, why you are even there, and what your real mission or aim might be, and hopefully then can leave you with something of substance that can put you in a direction that leads you towards that all the time. You know, I'll ask a stranger sometimes what makes them happy, and 9 times out of 10, when I ask someone what makes you happy, like, and I mean anyone, you know, I'll be sitting on a plane and someone will ask me, like, if a couple people have said hi, and maybe awkwardly come to say hi, people say, and I'll be sitting next to someone and they say, oh, who are you? Why are people saying hi? Right. And I'll usually I'll go with the line of, especially because my name is Maps, and people obviously say Maps a lot of the time, and because it's spelled MAPS, I'll say I'm a geography teacher, actually. And these, coincidentally, are my students that I've lectured, you know, over the years. Or I'll come up with another random occupation.
I'm dead.
And then we'll go into that, and then I'll ask someone what makes them happy. And 9 times out of 10, they'll tell me the things that make them happy, and then I'll ask them what they do. And it won't be what makes them happy.
Right.
And then I'll ask them, and then I'll ask them, so Why aren't you doing what makes you happy? And then you start to get the real human, because we all have our different life circumstances. We all have our different walks of life that doesn't allow us to perhaps do what makes us happy, right?
Exactly.
Because we all have really, really different challenges. So then you start to really get to the source of the person, but then they end up walking away thinking, cool, so I haven't been able to in the past because I needed to be able to survive and put food on the table for my family. Maybe you're supporting your family as a young teenager in South Africa and across the continent. That's what you're faced with all the time. And really your main thing is survival. You know, there's also a very utopian thing about doing things that make you happy. Go do the work. That's such a very Western thing, because here it's like you need to be able to survive first. Then once you've managed to nail that and everyone at home is comfortable, then you can start to focus on that. If you're very lucky, what you go into can be what actually makes you happy and can support your family too. And then that's a beautiful thing. But it's also important to be realistic about that in people's backgrounds. So from those conversations, people end up walking away with, I'm actually going to really spend more time on that so that I can focus on that happiness a little bit more. If they've spent 30, 40 years of doing something that doesn't make them happy and they're just focused on making paycheck to paycheck and casually just like not really paying attention to what makes them feel alive, and hopefully then that gives them a second lease on life. But it can go in different directions. But it's from that when people come and they have the conversation, that they're really immediately comfortable on the show, and then they know the conversations we're going to have are going to be ones of substance and are not going to be ones of gossip and just trying to find out what what happened really on the night of this. But even if I ask that question, they'll know the place that it's coming from. Yeah. And then it actually then requires them to open up and be honest about it.
Maps, I'm just sitting here thinking about your ability to draw that kind of trust out of people. At the end of the day, it is about trust. Even if it's someone that you sat next to on a plane and sparked up a conversation with, even if it's a superstar in South Africa, a legend who you're having a conversation with, how do you build trust? How do you establish like a real, genuine, and authentic connection with somebody and have a dialogue that actually goes somewhere, that actually changes someone's perspective on how they think about the world, how they think about themselves? And just hearing sort of your line of questioning and how you do that is super fascinating, because it's the simplest question, right? Like, are you happy? And I have to say, I think that, just despite what happened during the pandemic, despite all the lives lost, despite how challenging it was for so many people, having a period of a year and a half, 2 years like that, I think forced a lot of people to look at themselves in the mirror and ask the question, are you happy? Like when all the glitz and the glam is stripped away, when it's just you looking at yourself in the mirror, are you actually happy? Are you actually doing the things that bring you joy, the things that you're passionate about? And I think for a lot of people, the answer was no. And I think it's really interesting in this moment that we're in right now, seeing people pivot and start to move toward their happiest, most joyous selves. And that can be so hard because of so many factors, especially in South Africa, especially being Black, especially being a person of color, a woman. There's so many things, right, that can really challenge our happiness. But the small steps that we can take on a day-to-day basis to try and answer that question and to try and feel that in ourselves, I think is so powerful. So for you to be able to establish that sort of connection with the guests on Mzansi Icons, bring that out in them, draw that out in them, is incredible. I always say, I don't know, you tell me how you feel about this, because you're a fellow presenter and MC. I feel like one of the biggest compliments I have ever when interviewing someone is if they actually like cry during the interview, because it's like they feel so comfortable that they've been able to like draw something that they like maybe wouldn't have said before and didn't do publicly. That's been something that I always find like a huge badge of honor. Like if that happens with someone, I'm like, wow, like you have gone to a new place. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's being able to access someone's biggest point of vulnerability that they end up wanting to show their feelings through the eyes, right? And when you're able to do that through tears, and you feel safe enough to do that, and there's a lot of people watching, and that you have that level of comfort to do so, knowing that there's a lot of people watching, is hugely you know, it's a huge honor. It's something that is not ever something that you also want to ever force out of someone, and it's not the goal either. But when
No.
it does happen, it's it's like it's like a real, as you say, a badge of honor in a sense of being able to allow someone, because not only about them having the the freedom to do so, it's allowing someone to recognize within themselves that it's okay for them to let go of what they are holding on to, and that it's
Mm,
okay to do so in your presence, and then cleanses that for themselves, you
mm,
know.
mm, mm,
And a lot of people just kind of hang on to these bent up feelings of pain, of um, so many different kinds of emotions, you know, and
mm,
that a lot of
mm,
that was drawn out through the pandemic, as you say. And so when when people are then able to ignore the glossiness of the kind of platform we're on right now as well, and the glossiness that's associated perhaps with, you know, what they feel that they have to uphold, or you know, be able to keep up with in order to be recognized, is is incredible when they let go of that and just show who they truly are. So yes, very long way of getting there, but yes, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes, yes. A truly beautiful thing. And when I think about this show that you have right now, I think about the legacy of these people that you're interviewing. So say Mzansi Icons becomes a huge hit in South Africa. It's happening for the next, 60 years, and then the tables have turned and you are a guest on Mzansi Icons. What do you want your legacy to be in South Africa, in the world?
That's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. Um, so it's a good question for me because it always leads to a little bit of um, unexpected or unwanted feelings, in the sense that whenever it comes to legacy, everyone has like this answer, like I want to leave this legacy and this and this and this. But I've always come from the point and angle of view of never thinking, and I know it seems a little bit odd, but never thinking about legacy or worrying about
Mm,
legacy, because I feel then that starts to shift the focus of what you're actually doing.
mm,
You know, it's really important for me that legacy becomes a byproduct of me doing um, important things on a daily basis, important things that will somehow best serve, um, firstly, my immediate kind of needs, community, and then society. You know, and I say my immediate needs and community, firstly because I need to be able to ensure that I am good in
right.
order to be able to do bigger and better things, in
Yes.
order to then um, empower people around me, in order then to hopefully make a change in society. And with that kind of focus, it allows for a better ripple effect within a perceived legacy. When you have just like the legacy in your mind, and just kind of like that thing that is so far reaching, and I say far reaching in the sense that you won't even be here to see it anyway,
Right.
right? It Then you start to get clouded about doing things for the wrong reason so that you can have that to your name. I feel like when your main focus is legacy, it starts to lead to like comparison in legacy, and then
Sure.
comparison of legacies. And then when that comparison of legacies is in the way, it ends up all just end up being a thing driven by ego. And
Sure.
whatever I try and do is try and remove that. I feel like I'm always doing things as honestly as possible and as truthfully as possible when the ego is removed. And I think when your obsession is a legacy, then that will always get in the way. So
Mm,
I think for me, it will hopefully be about, you know, that whatever I did, I tried to do it as well as possible, leaving as
mm,
much of an impact as possible on people's lives on a daily basis, so that I was able to bring lots of people up with me, giving them lots of great opportunities so they themselves could give people the chance, give them the opportunity to leave a lasting legacy. Because through that, then they leave a legacy. And through that first initial action of mine, I've left a legacy. And I think to be able to give someone the opportunity themselves who may not even be deemed someone who is somebody to begin with, because they are not valued as a certain level of citizenry, because they, are not wildly respected or wildly wealthy or whatever it is. If you can take someone pull them from their situation that seemed quite dire, and they didn't have the ability to dream, and then you've given them the ability to dream, and then from that they've done so well themselves that they're able to give their family or people around them the opportunities that they might not have gotten, then what better kind of legacy to leave than giving the other people around you an opportunity to leave legacies of their own.
Giving people the opportunity to dream. I'm just like, I gotta give you the little DJ horn for that one, Bubs. I mean, what a beautiful response, and what a tremendous way to extract the ego from the legacy conversation and actually just say, if I can do something every day that's important, if I can do something every day that leaves an impact on someone, a positive impact, that they perhaps didn't have the day before, then you are taking steps every single day, every single minute, every single hour to move into the direction of just creating a more just world. And I think that's just incredible. And I'm here for it, Babs. I'm here for it. Like I said, we ready for your TED Talk, my guy. I mean, like, of all the guests I've had on this show, no one has had as many interviews on YouTube as you have. and so I'm just like, okay, we have 1,000 different interviews I can watch to prep for this one right here. And even with that, you still have no idea where this conversation is going to go, because you just go with the flow and you just see like where things take off. And I think that everybody here, and I'm seeing some beautiful comments in the chat. I see Aya Fly said that she loves that, the impact on others to pave their own legacies. I saw somebody, Ozzy TT, saying they have the same sentiments, dog. Go with the flow of serving your purpose in life, and the rest of that builds up a fulfillment in one's life as part of the legacy. So the comments are out here. Big boy Sarimo giving you the little muscly arm. Go ahead. So we see y'all in the comments. I'm glad the comments are back. I missed the comments earlier. And so we're here for it. And I think you being able to use your voice as one of the ways to create this impact and to create this world for other people, to support other people in fulfilling their own dreams, launching their own legacies is exciting. And it's one of the things that people with personality can do. So we're so grateful that you continue to be curious and you continue to have a hand in every single thing that you do, because it just creates this ripple effect, not only in South Africa, but across the whole entire world. And we know you be traveling, Mabs, so we know you are around the world. So we have about 5 minutes left here on the show. I want to give you the chance to just like plug all of the incredible things that you have coming up for us as your friends, your fans, your followers. Talk to us about what's on the horizon. What can we continue to support you with in leaving that impact? What's on the horizon so that we can be there and show some love?
Okay. On that front, that's pretty dope. Thank you. So obviously I've got Mzansi Icons. I actually saw a comment just pop up there right now about Mzansi Icons. Shout out to Naturally Carla over there. It's obviously, it's the show that I really enjoy doing. So that plays on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. And as you elaborated on earlier, it interviews people who are iconic, and we give them the flowers while they're around. It's in case you still don't quite get the concept. If you've watched My Next Guest Needs No Introduction on Netflix with David Letterman. It's a lot like that, but on a budget, a South African budget. But we do the most we can with it. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm hoping we get to do a whole lot of that. I'm looking to do a talk show. Well, not a talk show. I'm going to be doing an international show saying this for the first time. It might not happen, but I'm putting it out there, which means now it will happen because I'm a
It's
big
happening.
manifester.
You
So,
manifested it. You spoke it.
so I'm in the process. Probably in about a year's time, it's going to be an international show of touring the continent and finding all the continent's best food and having conversations with people, you know, in those respective regions and diving deep into the food because we've got so much wonderful food here that doesn't get the love that it deserves,
Yes.
and it will be great to be able to take that to the world. And other than that, right now I've also got a film coming out that I produced about a year or so ago. It's called Courting Anati. It's directed by Akin Omotoso, and it's kind of I'd say a law comedy drama, shot in Johannesburg. So looking forward to that. That will probably, we'll see. It's been delayed for a little bit because of the pandemic, but we're looking at having that come out in the middle of next year. And then, in terms of things that really matter, doing some cool work with organizations. I'd say people to kind of like look out and go support organizations like Nali Bali, which I serve on the board of, and that is a literacy organization. So we basically develop and disseminate literacy or literary content around the country, mainly focused on underprovided and underprivileged communities that are most deserving of being able to get access to literacy and children's books. The whole aim is to try and get children to read as early as possible so that we can get that developmental stage of literacy kind of on handle so that we don't have the perpetuated issue that we have around education and a future, unfortunately, currently amongst our youth where I think the stat is 78% of grade fours in South Africa can't read or write for understanding. So we have a massive deficit, and that's kind of paramount to our success as a nation. Just to quickly answer this, someone in the comments said, "What is the name of the movie?" It's called Courting Anati. Just to reiterate that, I just saw that pop up now. And then I also always get to do some wonderful work with UNICEF as an advocate and an ambassador for them. And so youth and education are like my two main kind of passions from a societal point of view, because I feel like those are the two key things to changing society in the most positive way and ensuring that the most looked over, marginalized people are given the opportunity that they deserve and chance at success. And also, like, I look at the fact that I was born in Soweto and I'm from Protea North in Soweto, and I sit with a lot of wanting to be able to create as much of those opportunities as possible, because I'm only where I am now because my parents growing up in the township took massive risks and sacrifices that managed to get them to be able to send my brother and I to, good schools out of the township, and then being able to have the smallest thing in a country where the most, we've got 12 languages, as it's 11 languages, but now 12 official languages because sign language has been included as a 12th official language. We've got 12 languages, but the most spoken is one, which is English. That is the most marginalized, well, not marginalized, sorry, that is the minority in the country, but this is the one that is dominant both in the country and, you'll only really get respect, sadly, in this country that is, I think, 89% of, or 88% of a black majority that, speaks all these other 10 languages or 9 languages if you exclude, Afrikaans, or actually black and brown people. So 10 languages, and then you don't get the opportunities because you don't have a command of the English language. It's kind of ridiculous, right? But I literally look at that, and it's literally just because the school I've managed to go to has also helped give that extra leap forward. And it's unfair that so many people who are undoubtedly, who could be so much more talented, so much smarter, so much more skilled than I could ever wish to be, don't get those opportunities because they weren't at the, born in the right space at the right kind of time being able to have a command of something as simple as language, an English language, you know, the English language, which is ridiculous in their very black country.
Yep.
And I think it's about, you know, being able to continue to give those people as many opportunities as possible and not allow them to be victims purely of circumstance or ever have that mindset. And I think continue to open that up as much as possible from an early age.
Literally rewriting the script, literally rewriting the narrative on how we engage in communication, in our professional lives, in our personal lives, in a country that is dominated by a language that's not its own, right? And
absolutely.
We're so grateful for the work that you're doing around that, because literacy is critical in a place like South Africa, and it's the future. It's the way that we need young people to be able to have those opportunities, those educational, written, literal, all these opportunities to be able to go forward. So all the work that you're doing, Mabs, like whether it's UNICEF, the incredible NGOs that you mentioned, the boards that you're on, you know, the movies that you produce, all these things that create opportunities for people, young people, all people across this country, you know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And we're going to continue to support you every step of the way on that track. We're there on the track with you, supporting you.
Thank you.
Making sure you get off the blocks, my guy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Giving you water as you make your 2 lap around.
Cheering me on.
Here's some orange slices for you. Keep going.
You're actually, you joke. I was laughing just before I came on because there's an account on Instagram called We Are New York City, and it was just the New York Marathon earlier. I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago over the weekend, and the signs that people had up were hilarious. There was you speaking about running and everything, and these people giving the people who are running water and everything. But there was a sign saying, "The rats don't run the city, you run the city." Like,
that's right, Babs. You run the city, not the rats.
It's the most New York thing you can imagine.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Okay, Mabs, I have taken up an hour of your actual show time, and so I don't want to take up any more of your time. But I'm so grateful that you came on the show today.
Thank you very much.
It was talking about impact or talking about the networks that you curate and the people around you, the life that you live, and treating everybody equitably. There's so many gems that you dropped today, and this is why we love you. So thank you for being my guest here on NIKKI BANZ Live. Remember, everybody, go follow Mabs at Maponyane and just go support, because this is an incredible human right here doing incredible things. And whether it's South Africa or Morocco or the US or Nigeria or wherever, we are here for it, and we can't wait to see that impact continue to grow and spread across Mzansi and across the continent and the world. So thank you, Kele Bocha. Merci.
Merci. Merci.
On the next interview, we're just going to talk travel and countries. That's the next interview.
Yeah. Travel, countries, and Farsi. Just so people get it, like, we're not terrible at speaking French. We're not trying to say merci. Merci, which is Farsi for thank you.
Yes. Shout out to Iran. Hashtag Masa Amini. We're out there. We're supporting. Maps, you're a star. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Nicole. I'll see you soon. Much love.
Thanks, everyone. You've been here on NIKKI BANZ Live. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everyone. Bye, Maps.
Bye.